All right, this will probably be a bit on the shorter side, but you know, just had some things to talk about. I've been going through quite a bit of stress lately, and had a had more on my mind than usual. You know, usually my mind is a pretty desolate place, but right now it's kind of running at a million miles an hour. And I've kind of found that to be an interesting opportunity, right? Because when you're in that moment, when you're put under a lot of stress and, you know, you're just having a really rough go of it, it gives you an opportunity to take a step back and look at your thought process and say, how do I respond under this kind of stress? What is my immediate go-to um, thoughts? You know, am I sitting there going, oh, I just need to I need to stop doing everything that's bringing me stress. I just need to stop. I can't handle this. I'm just going to withdraw from the world essentially, because it's too much stress for me to handle. Or do you say, how can I make that how can I make this situation better? What am I doing? What's going wrong? Um, what needs to change for this to be rectified? You know, it's those kind of things you can there are a million different responses you could have under stress. But it's interesting to know what you react like, and then perhaps you can take that forward, take that knowledge and use it if it happens again, or you can use it to improve upon, right? And so what I've been noticing with myself at least is I kind of I kind of try to view the situation from an external lens, right? And go, okay, I know that I'm feeling this way. How what's going wrong to make me feel this way? Well, what is wrong so that I can fix it? And my conclusions so far have been like, all right, we're gonna try a better diet. We're gonna try more exercise because those two things alone can really help. And then it's like, okay, if it's not that, maybe it's some kind of um, you know personal stress, some kind of anxiety about the future, and if it's those, we can figure out solutions to that, right? But let's start with these two options. And so when I was in a pretty bad place, um, those were my go-tos. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go shopping, get some fruits. I'm gonna go for a walk, just kind of walk it off, get some fresh air because that is fresh air is amazing. If you go outside and you realize, wow, this is this is helping me calm down. And so those were my go-tos at first, and then after that, I was like, if I'm still having a really rough time, if I'm really stressed, I can figure out the solutions to if it's, anxiety or social stress, right? And so it's sort of comforting to know that I wouldn't immediately break down. I would try to fix it, because I think that's what you always want to be, right? You want to be someone who's like, if I'm going down, I'm not going down without a fight. I am holding on for dear life, you know. So it's good to know that that's kind of what I am. When I was like, oh, this is just too much stress. I can't handle uh, life at this moment, right? And so my reaction was like, all right, we're gonna drop some classes, lower the workload, because that's the immediate answer if you're overwhelmed, right? Is lighten the workload, which makes sense. But if I lighten my workload, then it would really mess up. Okay, calm down there, brother. Oh, that was a miracle. Um, I was in a position where if I did lighten my workload and drop this specific class, it would have set back um, my graduation plan by quite a bit actually, and put me in a much worse position in the long run. And so I was like, I was able to take a step back when I was still in this poor position emotionally, and I was able to say, okay, let's you're not in a good you're not in a good state right now. How about you wait to make this decision? Let's just see if anything changes. Um, and and before we do anything rash like that would mess you up for a long term, right? Um, and that's what I did. And so I'm still with the class. I'm not dropping it or anything, which I do feel good about. I'm glad that that was my reaction. I can't be certain that if the stress were more, I wouldn't react worse. And so that's why I'm still like, okay, I want to improve still, right? I want to make it so that if this happens again, if the stress of life gets to me, if I'm overwhelmed again, I can fight my way out of it even faster next time, right? Um, it's a chance to self-improve. Long elevator. So that's what I'm aiming for. I've gotten through it. I've made those adjustments, those improvements, and I figured out what was getting to me. Um, and it's really just life, man. It's sometimes you're gonna have hard times during life. This hasn't been my first go around with a difficult um, period in my life, and it's not going to be my last. I can guarantee myself that, you know, and I don't know. It feels funny to say that because like, wow, if you're going through these horrible times, what what's the point, you know? But and it's like everybody goes through these hard times, and it's like, wow, how do humans just keep going through all like the pain and suffering of life? You know, it's kind of remarkable. But it's was he behind me? What? It's kind of remarkable, but when you come to terms with it, it's very it's interesting, I think, right? I watched a clip earlier. I don't usually watch like the Dr. Huberman podcast or whatever it's called, but a clip got recommended to me today because the YouTube algorithm apparently always knows what my emotional state is. And it was him talking to David Goggins about like how to increase your willpower and stuff like that. Nearly got me. How to increase your willpower. And Huberman attacked it from the sort of scientific perspective where it's like there's a spot in your brain that grows when you do things that you don't want to do, and it shrinks when you like give in to not wanting to do something. Let's say when you challenge yourself, it grows, and when you fail to challenge yourself, it goes away. Right? It doesn't grow when you do things that you like. It only grows when you do things that are challenging and difficult that you don't want to do. Um, and that was pretty interesting. But I like David Goggins' perspective because he said we all just know this from the start. You're saying it scientifically, but I knew this from the start. It's if you challenge yourself, you're going to be better enough because you're increasing your ability to do things that you don't want to do, and that's what life is, right? And I agree with that perspective. I think that life is absolutely that. It's a ton of things that you're not going to want to do. Um, but you force yourself to do them, and through that, when you do things that you don't want to do, you become a better person. You become a more capable person, right? I think that you grow in proportion to the weight that you take on, right? So if you take on a lot of stress in your life, a lot of difficult tasks, but you overcome them, you complete the challenges that you set out for yourself, um, you'll be better off. And so that was an interesting video to watch. Because it applied so well to what I'm experiencing. It's like, wow, I'm really just targeted by YouTube right now. They know what's happening. um, so that was interesting, but yeah, I do think that there's a lot to take away from that. I think that self-improvement is just such a big part of life that okay, I did not mean to do that, but I guess I'll take it. Let's get him first. This is good. Yeah, I just think that self-improvement is such a huge part of life. How can you go through life this this difficult, horrible mess where everything depends on you? You know, the crushing weight of that alone is like, wow, if I mess up, then everything just kind of crumbles, right? You have to go out and confront that. You have to go out and confront all these difficult things having to do with life. Um, and in the midst of that, just be successful and improve, right? And that should be a more challenging task, but so many people make it through that, and I think that's just remarkable. Um, I think that part of the motivation for pushing through the difficult times that life consists of is that the little moments, like those one in a million moments that you'll remember forever, where you find true love or you find an amazing friend who's always by your side, um, those outweigh everything, and those are enough to just keep us pushing forward, right? And so it's like I think it's like you have to find value where you have to figure out where the value in your life is, right? Like what do you enjoy? What brings you the will to live, essentially? And then you have to go with that. And I think for a lot of people, it's like, wow, my loved ones, my hobbies, things like that, just make my life worth it, you know? And then on top of that, you have to find what motivates you to self-improve. Um, but once you do those things, it's not like the fight is over. It's a never-ending fight to overcome life's challenges, right? It will never stop trying to put you down. But I think in a way that's like a gift. Life smacking you down is its own gift because it forces you to become the best version of yourself. Obviously, some people, you know, I don't want to say they can't handle it because it's difficult, right? The challenges that some people face are extremely difficult to overcome. But, you know, if they do overcome them, then they're an even better person because of it. And so I suppose what I'm trying to get at with all this is just encourage people. Okay, well, that poor Marine, I feel bad. But um, I suppose what I'm trying to get at is that if people are going through a rough time, I want to encourage them to try and improve, even if it's difficult. It's because if you manage to make it over the hump, make it over this difficult time that you're going through, you'll be better off for it. You will be an even better version of yourself, you know? Find what makes you happy. Find what motivates you. Find how you can become the best version of yourself so that when hard times come around again, it's it's just even easier, you know? It's a small little ant hill that you're able to climb over. With a guy. Oh yeah. Well, with that, I wish you all the best with your challenges in life, and I hope you all succeed.